Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. On Friday, CIG gave the community quite a surprise and dropped several things on us. First, that the 3.20.1 patch that we were expecting to be the CitizenCon release was not going to happen. Second, that instead it was going to be a 3.21 patch. Third, that it was going to skip having an Evocati phase and even an early access PTU phase. Condolences to all the folks who are expecting that as part of their subscriptions or concierge levels. And fourth, that it was immediately going to be released to Open PTU. So this obviously meant that they won a lot of load testing really fast, before CitizenCon fast. Now, their stated reason for wanting to do this was to create a preview environment of the replication layer, which I regarded as a little sus right from the start for reasons I'll get into in a moment. Not that they weren't going to be showing off the replication layer, but something more than just the replication layer. And that was confirmed when the sneaky folks that do data mining immediately uncovered a huge placeholder station for the Stanton-Pyro jump tunnel. How do we know that it was the Stanton-Pyro jump tunnel station? Well, just ask. Clearly, the cloud stack still needs to be finalized, and most of the elevators weren't working, but it does otherwise have a full interior layout with both refinery and cargo decks. Anyway, at the risk of belaboring the obvious, you don't need to put this into the game if your only plans are to preview the replication layer in Stanton. But this also answers a number of gameplay questions about Pyro. For one thing, I speculated that there was no last chance before Pyro Station, then the Stanton side of the jump point would be the primo place for players with Starfares to set up their refueling businesses. Instead, expect this to be where Starfarers and other expeditions to Pyro will be making their mustering and logistics point. CIG expects this station to be busy, really busy. I agree. It will be the closest protected place to Pyro, and the fact that it has both cargo and refining decks will help even more. I expect that this will be the number one place that most experienced players will make their spawn point and logout location, where most of their ships will be based, since it will keep their options open as what they want to go and what they want to do on their next play session. If an org decides to standardize on a single location for planning, it will be here. So get a good view. I expect you'll be seeing a lot more of this location, wherever it eventually gets put and whatever it eventually gets called. But next I'd like to talk about the replication layer, which while it won't be the headline of this preview location when it goes full on, it will be playing a big role in it. In the last video I talked about the entity graph database, the nodal data structure of everything in the universe. Essentially, the replication layer is the part of the back end of the infrastructure that interfaces with the entity graph data and sends its information to you. If you were to think of a pen and paper role-playing game, the game master could be described as having two sets of roles. The first role is informational, telling the players what they are experiencing in the game, what is where, and by doing that by referencing their big binder of game world information, which is analogous to the entity graph database. The second thing the Game Master does is adjudicate actions with the roll of the dice to determine what happens. Well, what CIG is doing is splitting these two roles. The role of being an information source is going to fall to the replication layer, while the role of adjudication is going to be the simulation servers, or DGS. It's like there are now two co-game masters, one holding the book and map, the other holding the dice. If the game master holding the dice, the DGS, rules that something needs to be changed, he will tell the game master holding the book, the replication layer, to change it, and they will. As long as the replication system and the DGS are in the same facility, that exchange can happen as fast as if it was on the same computer. Now, the replication layer doesn't tell us about everything in the universe. That would be inefficient and pointless. As we move around the verse, we have a zone of perception that surrounds us. As new things come into our zone of perception, the replication layer informs us and creates a stream of information in the object container stream to keep us informed about it. As things disappear behind us, we disconnect from that stream, although others might still need it, and that is called bind culling. But the server also needs to know about all that stuff it's adjudicating about. Does it connect to the entity graph separately from the replication layer? No. When the replication layer sends the entity information to us, it simulcasts it to the DGS simulation servers. But doesn't the DGS simulation server have to know about the whole verse? It does now. But if we as a player can have a zone of perception, then the DGS servers under this system can have a zone of perception too. One DGS server may have their zone of perception be Stanton, and another DGS server have Pyro, Or rather, just one DGS server for Stanton. You can have one with a zone of perception for Hurston, one for Crusader, one for R-Corp, and one for Microtech. And that's server meshing, or at least static server meshing. Dynamic server meshing coming later will do the same thing, except be able to have adjusting the zones of perception to respond to how many folks are where. Now, the real trick of how to do this is moving from one DGS server's zone of perception to another without having an unloading screen. Because any old decade-old tech can unload you from one server and then load you into another while a black screen or a cutscene is playing. Just look at Starfield. Yeah, that's a dig, but a completely fair one. So how does Star Citizen plan to do it seamlessly? Well, what it is doing is that the borders between the zones of perception of one DGS and another DGS will have overlap. As you enter the overlap, whether you're in the jump tunnel or in quantum, the replication layer will simulcast your information to you, the DGS server you are leaving from, and the DGS server that you are going to. But at least at the start, the information being sent to the server you are going to is advisory only. Then, somewhere near the middle of the overlap, the destination server is made authoritative and the old server is advisory. This is why you can't do stuff like a U-turn inside of a jump tunnel or in quantum. So all in all, a big deal. So why was I sus when they said that they were creating a preview environment just for the replication layer? Because, just by itself, the replication layer is completely invisible. Even with a small static mesh of DGS servers in Stanton, it is completely invisible unless it breaks. What makes it visible is when you have places where you can go that you couldn't, in ways that you couldn't. Nobody creates a preview environment for something that can't be seen. Now for an update on our giveaways. With the Hull C giveaway complete, congratulations to Mark Booser. We now have our IAE Week giveaway for the winner's choice of either the Galaxy Complete, the Massive Modular Mining Moving Medical Machine, or the Banu Big Box Bargain Bazaar, aka the Merchantman, or $100 in Steam Store credit. Just be a member and be entered automatically, or subscribe and comment, including the secret word. And the secret word for this video is the station that I've been flying around. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Danny Raymond for Ray's Guide.